Hi. Well, I'm sorry about that. I really thought I did such a great job, and then I got all these texts that said, "Can hardly hear you. It's so much out there as far as wind blowing." First of all, I want to just turn it around and give you a look at beautiful beach. You can see I have the windows slightly down so you can hear it from there. But I wanted to try and just give you back the message I had today about a step in the process and the challenges we're going to face. And I started out this morning, I'll try and reproduce. It's hard to reproduce when you're in the moment walking there and you've just done your exercise, and really enjoyed doing my lymphatic twist and my sprints, my all-out bursts on the beach. And so it's a little tough to reproduce, but let me try. The adrenaline's not pumping, but I got back to the car and I had several messages to me that it was inaudible and it was really windy and that. So I started out by talking about, my business model is a business model that goes by more of a traditional strength training philosophy, and we look at that, and we think about it, and some people still embrace it, some don't. I happen to really embrace it, but why could I embrace it? Because several years ago, when I got associated with Phil and he brought the concept of biomovement in, my first response to him was, hey Phil, don't be knocking my machines, man. So what has come around as a part of the process is I've learned to put in now the biomovements, and it's made us a more complete and a better program. It's broadened the scope of the people that we can help and we can work with as a result. So we at Bodies by Tasso Company are a better product as a result of the process that we expose ourselves to, and what we've learned from it, and how we've implemented it. And just as a child or a new beginner in exercise, when they begin to exercise or do their program, they're not going to get stronger if they don't encounter struggle. The muscles are not going to get stronger. They have to be able to be made to adapt through progression. Okay? So we continue to add that struggle to the exercise. We want to make it a little tough. Intensity is very important when we're working with that. It's the same from a spiritual standpoint. We'll never discover the things we can overcome in our life that are challenges if we haven't faced them. And when we pass these challenges, we see more of the true greatness that is within us. Now, in the Greek Orthodox faith, we have a word called askesis. Askesis literally means struggle or to wrestle with. And it is the intent that we have to understand and not be discouraged when we face struggles, no matter what those struggles were. Last night, Phil, on his webinar, explained the third phase of circadian eating and brought into it what he called intermittent eating, more popularly known as intermittent fasting. And he brought in that concept and what the benefit would be to us as we come through. And I told you yesterday morning, I think one of the great benefits to intermittent fasting, or intermittent eating, as Phil likes to call it, is the aspect of clarity of the mind. And I told us to call on the clarity hero to help us through. C.S. Lewis says, we have no right to happiness, only an obligation to do our duty. And sometimes doing our godly duty places us in the way of challenges and gives us challenges. And as we struggle through them, we become successful and more successful and better, and we evolve even more. So let me look at it from this standpoint. I talked this morning on my walk about University of Virginia, I believe it was, had a study, and they were studying the life cycle of the caterpillar. And as many of you in the program, you've heard about the chrysalis. Well, in the phase where the caterpillar rolls itself up in this cocoon, it becomes a chrysalis, and it waits, and then it has to struggle, and it has to cut through it, it has to gnaw and bite and get through. Well, these graduate students in biology, what they did was they took that caterpillar, or they took that cocoon of the chrysalis, and they took a surgical scalpel, and they began to strategically cut holes in it, because they felt bad or sorry for the animal that was trying to come out of there, as it would have to struggle, and it would have to fight, it would poke its little head through it and gnaw a little bit and tear and get through. And what they didn't realize that was an exercise in its development to become better and stronger. And what they found when they did these little cuts in it, that those creatures that came out were not in as good a shape, had not adapted as well, were a little fatter, hadn't fully developed, so they were an easy prey for the predators that were looking for them to eat them. So by that struggle, they had come through and become better and stronger and more beautiful of a butterfly and could have a better life cycle as a result. So my message today is to embrace the struggle and the challenge and understand that we have a thing called the rule of one. The rule of one is one repetition better, one more pound, one more second, one more effort, one incremental change that makes a difference in how we do. Each coach is on this team that has brought you the 55 days has embraced the challenge to become better, to give you more material. And it's made us better. It's made us better as people. It's made us better as coaches. And we have embraced it. And hopefully out of our challenge or suffering to get there, the stress we get through, you've benefited. We hear stories all the time about people who are doing better, feeling better, and that. So we have to begin to look from the perspective. You remember several weeks ago, I pretended I was in jail, and I said, listen, turn the camera around and see the beauty that's in front of me. So now I'm asking you to turn the camera around and see the beauty that's within you when you take on these struggles. We certainly can focus on the uncertainty and the polarity and the challenges that this virus has brought us to be sequestered away for many of us. For me, I have a challenge that, I'm sitting here with my doors locked, but next door there's a nail salon that's operating because the governor allowed that. I see clubs that are in Utah and Georgia that are open. Well, I can't worry about that energy. I can work towards the end game that I know I'm going to be open soon. But I'm not going to let that frustration, that polarity of opinions pull me down and put me on the negative things because I can't do anything about it. So I began to think about what are some of the things that have come out of this for me. Well, number one, I'm messaging the message of my business a lot better. I'm telling people who I am, what I am, a lot better. So when we open, more people will know who we are and what we do and what differentiates us from everybody else. The caring we have, the flexibility we have to handle so many people from the standpoint of whether they have chronic disease or whether they're an elite athlete. The other thing is I've read 7 more books in this time frame than I've ever read before. I've read books on theology, spiritual, technical skills with my trade and my field. I've read enjoyable stories. I've read motivational stories. I've written in my journal more. So my journaling and everything that I've done has made me more complete as a person. I also found that I rediscovered this beautiful beach that's in front of me, and I walked on this morning and did my functional 6 on the beach and did my all-out sprints in the water and did my lymphatic twist in the water in about 6 or 8 inches of water. It was fun. I enjoyed it. But I would have never rediscovered that if I didn't have to search and go like, where'd be a cool place to do a presentation from today? I think just like all of you, I'm in a little better shape. I feel better. I've focused in and not wasted much time. So my final message to you today is this. Embrace the challenge of maybe taking that next step or a step for one day. Take this one of the steps that you said last night when Phil exposed it on the or educated us on it in the webinar and said, no, I don't think that's for me. Take one step. Try it. Conquer the challenge from within. Make yourself better from within by the little things you're going to do. And today at some point, sit down with your journal and in your gratitude section of that journal, or however you do, you may have a gratitude journal. Begin to write the things that you have benefited from or gained as a result of this challenge that we've been through as coronavirus. And even though it's been unpleasant to not be socially close to someone, and that this challenge has fed you and had you grown. And we're going to look back at this and go, you know what? I didn't suffer through this. I accepted this challenge, and now I'm reaping the benefits, and I'm enjoying the success of having gone through it, because I'm a better, greater person. And you would have never discovered that greatness. You would never discovered this program. The people like the Jim Beatties and the Heathers and the Ariels and the Kristens, if you had not had this opportunity come before you because of the challenge that made us put it together. So I hope you have a day of greatness. I hope you get to take the breath in, relax. I'm sorry that a lot of you, my friends up in Chicago, don't get to come to the beach like this. I know some of you have inclement weather. We'll think about you. We'll pray for you. And I hope you have a great and wonderful day. God bless and enjoy.